A lady said to me the other day, said, if the rapture will take place, the good people still be here and the bad people be gone. I believe she will be confused when it happens.
Amen.
But I'm glad that we have God. The devil will probably take us out now. If he probably feels the same way. If I could get rid of that bunch, things would be better. But I want to say today we have the protection of our country, and I'm glad that we do have God's protection, God's hand with us as we go through this life. But notice this, that ambassador in that far country has an embassy there in that country. He has a place that he can go. He has a place that he can go and be refreshed. He has a place that he can go and be protected. He has a place that he can go and run to in that country. As I read that, boy, that helped me. I thought the Christians have an embassy in this country. So what is it, preacher? It's the church. God has placed churches in this country as embassies. A place we can run to and get shelter. A place we can run to and get strength. A place we can run to and get warm when it's cold. And a place we can run to and eat when we're tired and hungry. I will say, He has placed His embassies with His a type of the church. Hey, in this far country, He didn't just send us out into the middle of the world and say, there, make it the best way you can. But He placed the embassy there where we have a place of shelter, a place to run to. The church is a type of that embassy, a place of shelter in this world as we go through. Let me say right face, not only these things that I mentioned this morning, but I was reading and read the last paragraph of studying about an ambassador. I read this and it just really hit me. An ambassador is appointed for a short time. That's what it said. You said, preacher, I know people have been ambassadors for years. Well, I'm just telling you what the encyclopedia said. An ambassador is appointed for a short time. Watch this, he's not there indefinitely. He's not there to stay forever. He is appointed to that position for a short time. But you know today God has appointed me and you to this position just for a short time. Amen. We're just in this life for a short time. Somebody say, preacher, how long are we going to be here? I don't know. Some's here for just a few years, and some here for 15 or 20, and some for 30 or 40 or 50, and some for 70 and 80, some for 100. Preacher, how long? I don't know. But God has appointed us to this position. But thank God it ain't forever. We're going to be here just for a short time, and then we'll go home from that position. He is appointed for a short time, and then he gets to go home. I've read just a few things about some of the ambassadors and what they've done. They'd stay in that country for a while and then they'd come home. Well, I'm glad me and you are ambassadors in a far country, as I've said, but I'm glad we're not here forever. We're here for a short time and then we get to go home. I'm glad one of these days the Church of God is going to get to go home out of this world. While we're here, we're the representatives of the Lord. While we're here, we're the representatives, His personal representative. The leader of that country is God the Father. And we're His personal representative in this land. We have a high rank in this country. I said some years ago that the church was the most important building in a community. And I say this morning that Christians are the most important people in this country. It ain't the president, it ain't the most important, it ain't the leaders in some other country, it ain't some great high official, it ain't some great movie star, it ain't somebody with worldwide fame. It's not the most important. I see on People magazine where they say, the most important people of this year. Do you know I ain't hardly ever seen a preacher on there? I mean, some time ago I said Billy Graham was on it one time, but as far as I know, that's the only one I've seen on there. You know, here's the way it ought to be. It ought to be the most important people of this year was Ken Brewer, David Ward. Y'all about to die laughing. I think they're good people. I mean, I'm telling you, the Christians are the most important people in this world.
Amen.
I mean, they ought to be recognized as that. The Bible, as I said, the Bible said we're His ambassadors, and an ambassador is the highest ranking official. I mean, we ought to realize how important we are in God's service. Preacher, I ain't able to do much. You're important in God's service. God has appointed you to an important position. It's important that we're His representatives. We meet people every day. We have family members and loved ones that don't know the Lord. And we have friends that don't know nothing about God. And we have co-workers that don't know the Lord. And it's our job to be God's ambassador, God's representative to them people as we go through this land. And the only way they'll ever be saved is if they see Jesus in you.
Amen.
Amen. If they see Jesus in your life, if they see Jesus in my life, we are to represent the Lord as we go through this life. I've often thought about it, and everybody's got different ways of doing things. I've seen folks that just run up to people and grab by the hand and say, "Bless God, I'm born again and you're not, and you ought to get in." And I've seen some that goes up and says, "How's the weather? How you liking the weather today? It's pretty, sun's shining. Do you know the Lord?" I've seen some that go up and say, "Boy, that was a good race or a good ball game yesterday. Is that your favorite? That's good. I'm glad that's your favorite team. But are you a Christian?" We all are different in how we go about this thing, but God has chosen us to be His ambassador, His representative. That is our highest position. Everything else we do has got to point back to that. It's like when Eliezer went to get the bride for Isaac. And that's what me and you are doing down here, by the way, is getting Christ's bride together. When he went to get the bride for Isaac, he took some gold and silver and some earrings, some things down there to her. Was it his job to take those down there to her? No, his job was to go get her. Now, them things helped him to go get her. He took camels loaded down with things. Was his job to take the camel? No, his job was to go get her. But his other things went with him to help him. There's a lot of things that me and you do as we go through this life. Some of them is just our job. But in all honesty, the most important thing that we're doing, and all that we're doing, is going to get Christ's bride, going to be an ambassador for Him, going to be a witness, going to tell others about the Lord, and to bring them in. That is what our ultimate goal should be as we go through this life. Not to be a great singer, not to be a great preacher, not to be a great teacher, not to be a great spokesman, to be great at all these other things we do. But the most important thing ought to be that we're to be His ambassador and His representative. While we're doing all these other things, the most important thing should be what we're doing for Him. An ambassador is one that represents his country and is a personal representative of his country's leader. God has chosen you and appointed us to be God's representative as we go through this life.